So the last time we did this, we were in the beautiful northwest of Scotland, and of course it's Colin's patch. I felt it was time to see if we could anglify him in some way. I don't think he's ever been south of Berwick before, so where could be nicer than Northumberland?
Well, I'm looking forward, Joe, to the anglification experience. But I've never seen this coastline before, and from just the early views I've seen, it looks quite remarkable. Castles, beaches, I think will offer a lot of opportunity for photographs.
The castles here are a legacy of the defensive role that this part of the world played, of course mostly defending the world against the Scots. That seems to be quite appropriate to bring Colin down here. It's funny how sometimes when you're just driving along, you spot something. It's not part of the agenda, but it happens to be raining, so there's not much point probably doing an open landscape shoot at the moment, and yet we found ourselves in this wood.
But it was that burst of colour that we saw from the car.
Yeah.
And the rain, you know, everything's so saturated. I mean, this is an environment where there's a great deal of potential, and of course there's very, very little wind, which I think is part of the reason why so many of the leaves are still in these trees. I mean, we've got limes there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's magical, and in fact some of them are still green, even though we're well into November now.
It's incredible. I mean, I get so much excitement from being in an environment like this, because I think what we're doing is tapping into our ancestors' instincts. We're foraging, we're hunting, and we're gathering images. We're not trying to forage for food or fowl. And, you know, during this time of the year, I spend most of my time in Woodland because it's the most productive time for colour and the whole autumnal scene. Whereas in February, you'll not find me in a wood, just as our ancestors would be, you know, collecting fungi or fruits in the forest in August and September. But in February, they're going to be breaking a hole in the ice and trying to catch a fish.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'll be on a hillside somewhere or on a moorland trying to capture a dawn flush in the top of a mountain covered in snow. And it's using your time as efficiently as possible. And this is a great opportunity.
It is. It's those traditional field skills, is what you've just described. It's so much part of the joy of photography, and just as a matter of interest, you mentioned foraging, and look at this.
It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And I'm sure these are edible. I don't really have a depth of knowledge about mushrooms, but it's not worth taking the risk. But, you know, because I think few people come here, they're completely undisturbed. But look at them, there's a whole field of them.
It's a whole sequence, sort of like 15 metres of trail, and that's all the myceliae under the ground. It's just fruiting at this time of year.
Fantastic to see.
It's miraculous, yeah. It shows the soil's in very good shape here. The conditions are, I love it when it's soft light and rain like this, and in the woods the only thing that is better is a little bit of mist as well, but I'm sure we'll be able to do something here.
Well, I'm confident. How'd you get on, Joe?
Hey Colin, how are you doing?
Hey, not badly. Not badly. Tremendous light we've had, isn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic.
That's beautiful.
Just getting a little bit of sunlight now, which is, you know, sometimes just a tiny bit you can get away with.
It's just clipping the edges of the leaves.
Yeah, and just
drawing. Lift it. I think I'll just lift that. That was a bit of luck. That was me that brought that, Joe.
You take the credit for everything. Yeah. No, it's. I tell you what, though, what a fabulous spot.
Just random, but you know, we used our instincts. We saw that vibrant colour and the wet leaves, and we knew there was potential here, and I'm sure you've managed to capture something more as well.
Yeah. What about you? Have you got on?
Well, I got a couple of pictures. Let me have a look. So that's one there.
Wow.
But it's just
That's amazing.
the brambles are really red, and I focused that because there was absolutely no wind.
Yeah.
So there should be depth from front to back.
Yeah.
And the other image I've shot, which will be quite some way away because of the focus stacking.
No kidding. Wow.
I did quite a few because there was wind moving.
Yeah. And it's totally different to mine, where all the images I've been concentrating on have been woodland trees and leaves.
So let me see your other photograph. Here's that sun now. It's really
Is that too strong now? Probably
bringing.
is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, probably going to get a burnout there.
I'll try one anyway, because why not? Nice. Yeah, I think it's okay actually. Look, it really defines, especially the central tree, gives a nice bit of lighting to it. So it might work. Softer as I go back through the sequence, as you can see. And then further back, you can see mostly I'm looking for these little aprons of leaves in the autumn leaves.
Lovely, beautiful.
And you just the atmosphere of the forest, really. Tried a few variations. This is the beach a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, with that very orangey tones.
Yeah, captured that well. Really captured the essence of autumn there.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, how if you think there are times when sometimes it feels like you're having to force it, and then other times you just arrive somewhere with no agenda at all and just wander, get tuned in, and it just comes alive for you.
Well, there's no obvious photographs here, but I spent probably 25 minutes without a camera forensically looking at the forest floor and to try and find something with a composition in it. In fact, I found that image now, which is an upright image.
Yes.
I can't turn it, or the camera will try and correct it.
Yeah.
But
That's beautiful.
I've managed to hold all the leaves in there, and just
That's beautiful. The textures and colours are amazing.
It's just rewarding to make that order from chaos.
That's fairly flat, so no focus stacking needed there,
No,
presumably.
nothing.
Yeah.
2470's got enough depth of field to hold all that. So I was really delighted with both these pictures. I mean, you know, when we set out this morning and we saw the weather, there was very little in the way of hope for the picture which we had intended to take, but this is what.
Yeah, we've
this is what really
completely altered the plan.
Yeah.
Because of the weather, and actually this has really worked beautifully.
Which is what we both do when we're out on our own.
Exactly.
You follow the light and you prioritise where you're going to get images, or potentially images. And I mean, if it was bright as it is now, we wouldn't have even bothered to stop in this forest.
One of the things about woodland that I love is that because, as you say, there's no obvious subject matter, there's this question of how do you balance the issues of composition, form, shape, line, texture, and also the atmosphere of the place. And I think we've both come up with different sort of solutions here, but fundamentally it's composition that makes the pictures work.
And that can't be automated. It takes years to develop your own vision and the ability to distill images from the forest. That's what's so rewarding.
It is, yeah. You were saying the chaos of it earlier, which actually is true. It is very chaotic, isn't it? But it's also a lot of the fun of it. It's this jigsaw puzzle that you have to work out in space and form, which is finally what makes the whole thing come to life. And that's the challenge.
Well, really delighted with this morning, and let's see what we can find this afternoon.
All right, but I think lunch first.
Let's hope so. Wow, is this all sandstone, Joe?
It is, yeah. Can you believe it? Honestly, the difference between this and what we photographed yesterday is just amazing.
I mean, these erosion patterns are fantastic. There's going to be a huge opportunity for intimate landscapes here.
And that's it. It's a kind of micro world of line and shape, texture, colour, and it works really well, doesn't it, with the dampness?
The lines, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have this wet than dry.
Yeah, it increases the contrast, and yeah, it's a lovely spot. I've come here for many years, so actually literally since the 1980s, the first time I came here.
19 in the 80s?
Yeah, in the 80s, yeah.
Well, you're no newcomer to this location.
But it's your first time, right?
Never been on this coastline before, but it's just great to see these rock formations. Really excited about trying to get some photographs here, so I think we'll go for a little forage.
Brilliant, yes, bit of hunter-gathering of light and form.
Yeah, for images.
Yeah. It's actually amazing how these grids, it's like squared up forms.
I think I'll go and try on the seaward side here because there's going to be more erosion than on that side, I would imagine.
That's true, yeah. It's also darker, that's the only downside. Some fantastic cross-bedded sandstone there.
Yeah, it's all just moved at an angle.
Yeah.
And that's what, 300 million rather?
It's in that area, so it was laid down when this was near the equator, this part of the continent as it was then.
So that's all Jurassic?
It's, yeah, or slightly before even, yeah. Yeah, is it Cretaceous? Cretaceous after Jurassic?
Oh, I can never remember. I've forgotten that rhyme, that something about camels' knees creaking.
Okay, nice one. Hey, how you getting on?
Well, really excited about what I've managed to shoot here. Fantastic location. I mean, just look at the shapes and colours on that sandstone.
Oh, that's you so-and-so, that is fantastic. God damn it. You're not supposed to be doing photography that good. It's
This
my
is your location as well.
Come on, let's see some more.
I was using focus stacking in that.
Okay.
So I was just testing it. It was ideal simply because there's no foliage moving, and the camera was just shooting what it needed to do. So there was that image, and there was that image there.
This one with these tram lines, yeah. And again, you're at an angle, so with the angle, you're like, there's quite a distance in there, isn't there, that you have to cope with, and because you're quite close, hence the need to focus stack.
Yeah, and we were so lucky, as you know, with that sun, we managed to shoot just before that sun came out, and this wouldn't have been that great if the sun had hit that, because my shadow was right in front of it anyway. So what did you get?
So, well, very different, not surprisingly. So this one with the house, which...
That's fantastic. That's just so typically you, that picture.
Oh, don't say that, don't say that.
Oh,
but the other one I was quite happy with is actually... Oh, I'll tell you what, I've got one here. Look at that. Colin Pryor.
Converging lines on an idiot.
Converging lines on the tripod is what I had in mind, but anyway.
Joe, it's a masterpiece. We need to get that in the film.
We do. I think that's my shot of the day. And then there's one of the last one at the end where I'm really quite happy with this vertical. So now that one is shot with a 24, and it also has it's a lot of depth to it in terms of physical space, but it won't be as sharp as yours because it won't have the focus stacking. But again, because I think this is like more of a pictorial image, it's maybe not so essential to have that super sharp detail front to back.
And I think the issue you would have if you were focus stacking is the waves they'd get really sort of messy out there.
Yeah.
And I think that would become a distraction. But I really like that circular, it's that circularity in the rocks that you've captured there. Really good spot.
To
Fantastic.
me, it feels quite organic. So, and this is one of the many characteristics of this place. So, yeah, it's got loads to go at.
But I find often on workshops when you come to a location like this where there really is only smaller landscapes that many people just don't like the challenge of trying to shoot intimate landscapes. And yet when the weather was the way it was this morning, if you really look for images, you can go away with a keeper rather than walk away with a rather mediocre wide angle shot.
Well, part of the beauty of it is that you can very definitely find your own pictures here, because there is no obvious picture.
Yeah, and they're your pictures rather than...
Yeah, so it makes it quite a special place, I think.
Very much, and for me it's been great to see another of your locations, Joe.
Fantastic. Well, speaking of that, I have another thing I want to show you, just up the coast.
Look forward to it.
Well, here we are.
Looks quite fantastic. This light's lovely, isn't it?
It is fantastic. And this is Holy Island, and this is the legendary Causeway, which is flooded twice a day, and now it's just on the fall, and we can get over to the island before sunset, hopefully. Losing the light second by second here. I like to convince myself it's not all about the light, but actually it is.
It is.
Well, 5 minutes ago there was brilliant late sunlight on the castle, and I have to say that was quite magical. And now it's gone very, very flat. Sky's still pretty, and the shapes are kind of cool.
It's dropped into that cloud bank, unfortunately. And it's gone. Just a few seconds earlier and we could have grabbed that.
Yeah.
That's what landscape photography is about, unfortunately.
It's full of frustrations as well. If it was easy, everybody would do it, right?
I'll set up in anticipation of something happening.
Well, you never know. You seem to be pretty good at making things happen. It's funny actually how the Causeway has this, it's very, very unpredictable. So even though we read the crossing times and we should have been fine, when we came down, in fact we expected it to have been clear for about 10 minutes and it was still up, and there was a lot of traffic and it was quite congested, and that held things up. So
well, I think there was quite a bit of incompetent driving going on.
Well, there's a surprise.
So we can blame them for our demise. It was so close, Joe, so
Oh.
close. We'll need to come back.
It could be worse, couldn't it?
Well, on balance, losing one image from all the locations we've been, from the castles, from the forests, early morning, late evening, we've done pretty well, I think.
I'd say so. Yeah, we really have.
And you know, this was a push, but it didn't. The cards didn't play in our favour, Joe.
One step too far, Colin. Yeah. And you know what? I'm just going to switch to black and white here, because I'm thinking, you know, it might just be that in spite of the fact that the light doesn't look terribly clever, stylistically, it might just suit something in monochrome.
It's easy to become despondent, you know, when you fail in a situation like this, and you've just got to pick yourself up and you focus your mind on the next time you're out. And that's the key, to keep going. It's very easy, I think, to lose your mojo over periods of time, not just on specific instances like this. But I think the key is to focus on projects, long-term projects, so that you're driven to a goal, to achieve something. And it's very comfortable when you get to our age, Joe, as you know, to sit by the log burner and you know, sip whiskey, but you need something to get you out there. And the climbers used to talk about the rat the size of your rat, this imaginary rat that existed in your stomach and gnawed away relentlessly at your stomach from the inside, and climbers that scaled huge vertical mountains were said to have a huge rat.
Yeah.
Because this thing gnawed away and chased them out from the log burners up these mountains, and that you either have that going to push you out there or you don't, and the key is to try and find a way to stoke that fire.
I think we're lucky actually in that respect, because there's so much pleasure to be had just being out with your camera and your tripod, walking, getting the exercise. I hear writers talk a lot about losing their inspiration and waiting for inspiration, and actually all the really, really successful writers, they just get up in the morning, go to their office, work for an hour and a half, then have a coffee, then go back, and most of them seem to work in the mornings, because there's always exceptions, and they work, they have a routine of work, because that's the only way that they can preserve their sense of inspiration. They get inspired by work, and that's, I think, true certainly for us, that it's actually being out there. You may not feel like it sometimes, you may not feel like you're going to be inspired, the light may not even be doing it for you, but just going out and using the kit and reminding yourself of the importance of connecting with nature as often as you can, I think that helps keep you going. And it is a pleasurable physical process as well, which is obviously very different to sitting in front of a laptop, which writers do, doing what they do. So we're fortunate in that respect. But yeah, I think it's still easy to think, well, it's not doing it for me anymore, I'll do something else. But there is no alternative to going out there.
No, I totally agree, Joe, and I've always said that it's a form of meditation. You know, once you're out there and you're connected with the environment, with the landscape that you're in, you just get into you get into the zone, and 3 hours can pass like that. You know, for people that find time passes slowly, you're becoming engaged with photography. If you're really truly interested, it can just vanish. You're completely absorbed by what you're looking at, whether it's trees in a forest or whether it's mountains. You're out there and you're hunting for images, and you're connected and engaged at every level, and you know, it's a great state of mind.
And think of just 2 days ago when we were by the coast with the waves breaking over and over, relentlessly over and over again. You start to realise that there's a sort of pattern, although every wave is unique, that this is sort of pattern, so it dies down and then gradually they come back and then they die down again. And you start to tune in to those rhythms of nature.
Yeah. Subconsciously, yeah.
And you keep watching and observing all of the details of the water moving around the rocks. It's something very therapeutic about that.
Very therapeutic.
And as you say, I think it is very akin to meditation.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's being at one with nature and being sort of totally connected with it.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better, really.
No, it doesn't. You know, that's what brings us out again and again.
Yeah.
Well, that's all from Colin and Joe in the second series of Behind the Lens. To help support us in producing this content and to keep up with our latest videos, please subscribe to our channel.
Can't believe how lucky we are to have done this. You reckon we'll get another chance?
You mean you haven't heard? We're going to do a third one. This time in the north.
You're kidding me.
You're back in my patch again, I'm afraid, Joe.
Ah. Sounds good.